Hello everyone, it's your Bud. Today we will be talking about the Carcharodon Astra, a chapter of Space Marines who prowl the edge of the galaxy and beyond on patrol for the Emperor of Mankind. Their founding, or the date of the formation of their chapter, is unknown, although there is evidence of them starting all the way back in the 32nd millennium. As they're prone to pale skin and dark eyes, it is thought that they are Raven Guard, and they also use the title Shade Lord for the leader of their chapter. But the brutal way of waging war is seen as something vile even by many of their brother chapters, being compared to the traitor chapter of the Night Lords. So their lineage does have some question, although most likely relating to the Raven Guard. Patrolling the deep void, they take the red tithe from those few planets visited, the tax of human life that replenishes the chapter's recruits, taken from that world regardless of how many are needed, as many of them will not survive augmentation and training to become full battle brothers. Mainly made up of scouts and terminators, the Carcharodons have the unique position of not being supplied by the Imperium, and to be almost entirely self-sufficient and self-reliant. Many battle brothers still using weapons and gear originally made up to 10,000 years ago, mixed with various other pieces of newer tech, yet still most of them are clad in artificer armor or equipped with ancient pattern bolters and weapons. The Carcharodon, or Shark in Low Gothic, is the name of the chapter, and the Carcharodon Astra fully translates to Space Sharks in Low Gothic. They get that name from the way they wage battle, as the Carcharodon hunts from the deep below, and then when it serves its target, surging forward with great forcefulness and power, devouring its prey and coming crashing back down into the ocean, disappearing into the depths to strike yet again. The most famous living Carcharodon on Earth is the Great White, although one of its ancestors, the Megalodon, is also of the Carcharodon family. The cold practicality that the Carcharodons employ was put on full display in the Badab War. When their fleet suddenly appeared on the outskirts of battle, there was quite a commotion, but after communications were sent, the Carcharodons got straight to work. The chapter of the Mantis Warriors rebelled against the Empire, but were not full-on Chaos worshippers, and as such the Carcharodons knew just what to do. Going straight for the population the Mantis Warriors were meant to protect, they brutally slaughtered their way through the city until the Mantis Warriors could stand by no more and rushed into battle, and then being defeated in turn. Despite how evil the act was, it was efficient, and the Carcharodons were tasked with repeating their success on Badab Primaris, and they went above and beyond, sabotaging a reactor core that had such a powerfully explosive meltdown that it is the key factor in the inevitable end of the planet, breaking up through tectonic upheaval. And for such a swift victory, they were granted the Mantis Warriors' homeworld of Utheka. Surprisingly, the Mantis Warriors were not all killed. They're on a mission now of redemption for the Emperor and seek to hunt down those other traitors of the Imperium now that they have seen the light. That was not quite the end of the Badab War though. One last stop at a secret fortress monastery of the Mantis Warriors, hidden but not safe, was discovered by the Carcharodons, and it was stripped of all precious metals, weapons, armor, and people, taking an entire generation as part of the Red Tithe, leaving then to return to the void above the galactic plane. I really like the Space Sharks, and I also really hate the Space Sharks. They're awful, cruel, cold, heartless Space Marines. You know the thing about a shark? He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eyes. When he comes at ya, doesn't seem to be living until he bites ya. Most of what's written down about them is conjecture, as they are self-reliant stalkers of the void, circling around and then striking only when they feel they have a chance for a successful hit. If not, they continue ever circling the galaxy. Being alone for so long though, they have a unique structure of command with their own chapter-specific symbols, taking on tribal tattoo markings that seem very Maori inspired to me. I love the design and think that they have the coolest looking Space Marine armor ever. Although if it was me, I'd have them in black with silver tribal tattoo markings instead of white with black markings. But that's just me. Aside from the Badab War, the only other source of information on the Space Sharks comes from the Death Watch, who every so often find a battle brother speaking High Gothic, reluctant to say anything else about their chapter, until their watch is ended and they return to their brethren in the void. The titles in the Carcharodons are as unique as their armor designs. calling each Marine Void Brother and their leader the Shade Lord. As well though, they have a Harvester Prime, a role tailor-made for their chapter, one who gathers and seeks out archaeotech, both to sustain and replenish the supplies of their chapter, but also to trade with the Mechanicus as part of their ancient pact, almost 10 millennia old. And though they rarely come into contact with those Mechanicus to trade, they still search for the tech that could improve the Imperium. Being so isolated and so self-reliant, the Carcharodons have found a good strategy that doesn't rely on vehicles, instead fully relying on manpower and surprise, lightning-quick assaults that either take and cause massive damage or are withstood by their target, causing the Carcharodons to fall back quickly and search for another angle to strike from. Vehicles would not only slow down much of this, but the energy and parts needed to sustain them would be unfeasible in the deep void. And carrying too much extra equipment like vehicles around constantly, just for use in a few moments of battle, is not something the Carcharodons would do. They heavily use scouts in assault squads known as Devastators, and also Terminators, of which they have an unusually large number, perhaps owing to their older date of formation. The best of these Terminator veterans are the Red Brethren, who are capable of coldly and quickly calculating what they need for victory. Many of the younger Marines pass the long waits in the void in cryotubes, while many older Void Brothers are unable to do so, staying in the dark void beyond the galaxy in the nothingness that some say has worked its way into the hearts and minds of those older Void Brothers. Is the title of Void Brother a respected one, or a recognition of this fact, that their gene seed is prone to much change in the deep nothingness of space? I've always liked the Carcharodons because of how little reverence or politics there is. Everything they do is purely instinct and resilience. The Scouts and Terminators are my ideal mix. The only thing I dislike is the color scheme and the murderous intent they seem to have. I know they're most likely 100% Raven Guard, with their Shade Lord rumored to be the exiled commander Arcus Fall from the Raven Guard, as he was the only one in the Imperium to use the title Shade Lord. And now Lord Tiberius, commander of the Carcharodons, now uses the title. Still, I always get the feeling that the viciousness and coldness of the Carcharodons is quite similar to that of the Night Haunters, and their willingness to attack the citizens of the Mantis Warriors to draw them out was what made me think there might be another progenitor other than the Raven Guard. Although I do think about Korvax and his raptors when I think of the Carcharodon origins, and the fact that the Shadelord title might have been passed down in exile. I also think there's some Raven Guard connection when I think about the Umbromancy discipline. Using shadows to conceal your attack describes everything about the Space Sharks. Umbromancy is void made manifest and utilized to help the other Space Shark Void Brothers. Well, thanks for watching everyone. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, and subscribe for daily videos. Let me know if you want me to do a video on any of the others that I've mentioned, the Night Haunters, Umbromancy, whatever. Just let me know in the comments. Leave any questions or suggestions down below, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.